We're going to talk about that most important year of your financial life. What is the most important year of your financial life? It is the first year out of your training. Okay. You do your medical school or whatever, if you're a lawyer or an engineer or whatever, the equivalent. And then you go to residency, you go to fellowship, and then you're out making the real paycheck. That's the most important financial year. Okay. And if you will get that year right, you can screw up almost everything else for the rest of your financial career, right? Just by getting that first year right, everything falls into place. And I can assure you, the Wolves got everything right that first year. And the way you do that is by having a written plan for your first 12 monthly paychecks. This allows you to hit the ground running. Okay. That first attending paycheck comes in, it's $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever it is, most money you've ever made in a month in your life. You've already got a plan for where that money's going. Okay. Now, your plan might be different from my plan, might be different from someone else's plan. The problem with being a brand new attendant is you have so many great uses for money and not enough money to do them all. But think about these things that you probably want to be considering in that first year out. Beefing up your emergency fund, right? Maybe you had a little piddly emergency fund as a resident. Maybe you're spending a little bit more money now, or you just want more months of emergency fund. You might want to beef that up with a few $1,000s more. Or if you never had one, establish an emergency fund. A surprising number of docs graduate with credit card debt, right? 15 to 30% guaranteed return from paying off your credit cards. This is a good thing to do. It's probably your best investment out there. If you've got any credit card debt that's been hanging out for whatever reason, take it in a corner, drop an anvil on it with that first paycheck or two. Get rid of it. Have it be gone. Okay. You maybe have a car loan or two. Get those paid off too. Right? This is something that from now on, you're going to be paying cash for. So once you have a car paid off, keep making those payments to yourself so you can pay cash for the next car. Maybe you need a new car. You've been driving a beater now since you were a second year, a sophomore in college. And that 2003 Corolla's got 240,000 miles on it, and the check engine light's on, and the tires are bald, and, it's starting to smoke. You know what? It's still okay to get a new car. Right? If you need it, get a new car. Okay. How about a down payment? Right? Once you know the job likes you and you like the job, you might want to save up for a down payment. Now, you might want to use your money for something else and buy a house with a doctor mortgage loan. That's okay. Check out our recommended list for people who offer that. But that might be on your list, just to save up a down payment. Getting your student loan plan right. Maybe it's time to get some student loan advice from our affiliate, studentloanadvice.com. Maybe it's time to refinance your student loans. Okay. But just make sure you have a plan in place. And if the plan is to pay them off, well, start making those big extra payments. Student loans do not last very long. When you send $10,000 a month to the lender, they just don't last that long. Okay. Let's say you have $200,000 in student loans. That's about the average for an MD student. Okay, how many months does that last if you send them $10,000 a month? Less than 2 years. Even if you're a dentist with twice the average amount of debt, which would put you in the 500,000 range, a little more maybe. How long does it last if you're sending $10,000 a month? Less than 5 years. Okay? You can pay off those student loans, but you got to have a plan to do so. Maxing out retirement accounts is another great thing to do that first year out. You might not be eligible for your new 401k, and you might not have the income as a resident or fellow to max those out, but look at what options you have. Remember, you have till April to do your backdoor Roth IRA. You have time. Yes, the paperwork will be a little more complicated, but you have until tax day to make the contribution. If you had tax-deferred dollars from residency or fellowship, you might want to do a Roth conversion on those. Okay? You got to make sure you have the money to pay the taxes. This is probably the lowest bracket you're going to be in for a long, long time, and a pretty good use for money right out of the gate. Now, the only way to you're not going to be able to do all of these probably in that first year, but you can do a lot of them. The only way to do a lot of them, though, is to keep living something like a resident. Okay? Live like a resident. Boy, you wouldn't believe how much blowback I get for those 4 words. People think I'm crazy to tell them that living like the average American household for a year or 2 or 3 is insane, right? But it's amazing how well it works, right? Let's say you've been making $60,000 a year. Maybe you're living on $50,000 a year. Now you're making, who knows? Let's say 300. You're making 300. If you are willing to still spend 50, maybe you're paying 75 in taxes now, but that leaves you a lot of money, $175,000 in the next year that you can use to build wealth, right? If you can send $10,000 a month to your student loans and still be able to save another $55,000 toward retirement or toward a down payment or toward an emergency fund, right? That's just the first year. And then every month of your financial life gets better and better and better. Less debt, more wealth, maybe even more income, month after month after month. It just gets better and easier. And so while it feels like you can't do it all at once and you want to, be a little bit patient, realize that this starts really steamrolling, really snowballing as time goes on. And within 5 or 10 years, if you're doing things right, you're going to have a pretty awesome financial life, be living in your dream home, have your dream job, and be able to buy anything you want that makes you happier, as well as be able to help those that you care about most. This really does work. I promise. We bring people on the Milestones podcast all the time who are doing this. They're in the process somewhere or they've already accomplished it, and you can too.